I'm Ashley Billington, and you're tuned in to the fifth quarter. It's playoff time in Texas as girls are finishing up their second round of playoffs in the area around tonight, and boys are having play-in games that they're finishing up as well. But it's jam-packed, full action, and next week we will be full swing into playoffs. All the madness begins in February for Texas high school hoops action. So exciting. This is one of the best times of the year. But we have Matt Harris, Inside High School Sports Insider, to talk about teams that are trying to make a run to San Antonio. Matt, so we're in playoffs finally, best time of the year. What's some news and notes going on with the girls around Houston?
Girls basketball, we've already got two teams on to round three. Clear Springs and Cypress Creek are both on to round three currently. So we've got several games going on tonight. A lot to be decided still, but among the notable teams who have moved on, Summer Creek, George Ranch, Pearland, and Atascocita both moved on. They're playing tonight. As well as Tompkins, Cy-Fair, Ridgepoint, and Bel Air. And we saw some good teams go down in round one with West Side lost. They had a really good season. They got upset in round one by, let me find that. Sorry. West Side was upset by Cy-Fair in round one, 66-63. So that wound up being a great game. And Cy-Fair matched it up with Tompkins tonight. Cy-Fair is another team that was really good this season in the girls' ranks. So that is the 6A side. On the 5A side, another girls team that we kept our eye on all season. Sorry, I'm switching over the brackets. Where is Hightower? That's what I wanted to talk about. Shadow Creek moved on to round two. I'm not seeing Hightower though. In 5A. But yes,
They
wait,
played.
here they are. Just kidding. So they moved on.
They played Barbers Hill
Yes,
tonight.
they played Yes, they played Sterling in round one and won 60-19. And last I checked, I believe they were up on Barbers Hill. And then they'll get the winner of Friendswood and Manville in round three. So that's another good matchup down there. And really a district we keep our eye on in football is the combined Friendswood Manville Hightower district. Basketball season, those districts split up a little bit, and that's why you see Hightower taking on the winner of Friendswood and Manville on the girls' side as early as round three.
Most definitely. And then what are we looking forward to as boys playoffs starts here soon?
I've got some big news for
Ooh, I
you.
like big news.
Made Creek. Made Creek has beat Cinco Ranch 45-43 to sneak into that final playoff spot in 19-6A. Made Creek had a tall task ahead of them on Tuesday night. It was a win and you're in kind of situation. They needed a win or a Cinco Ranch loss on Tuesday night to get in. Cinco Ranch won, and of course, Made Creek had a tough matchup with one of the best teams in the state, a team we cover a lot in Morton Ranch. They lost that game predictably. LJ Cryer had 50 points and 10 assists. What's new? But they wound up beating Cinco Ranch to clinch that final playoff spot tonight.
And then what are we looking forward to next week? We talked news and notes for girls. Now let's talk some news and notes for boys basketball.
Absolutely. Region 3, Made Creek will move on and they'll play Fort Bend Travis in round one. That's the very, very top of the Region 3 bracket. Travis was an interesting team. They lost, I believe, just one district game on the year to Ridgepoint, and they had a really solid season, which I think surprised a lot of people. Travis is not a team that was really thought of among the powerhouses in Houston, so they'll be sharing kind of there's essentially four little I guess mini brackets is how you'd put it. There's four little pairings of teams in Region 3. Cy, Travis will be with Cy-Fair, Houston Lamar, Morton Ranch, and Cy Creek notably. So Travis will have a decent chance to get out of their small little portion of the bracket in Region 3. Obviously, you've got to get past Morton Ranch, but I think that's the matchup many would anticipate to potentially win that portion of Region 3, Travis and Morton Ranch. The region below that, sorry, we've got Dickinson and Hastings in round one, North Shore Kingwood, Elsick Clear Lake, and Atascocita Westbrook. The big thing I noticed about that, Atascocita and Dickinson will have to play each other, I believe, in round three, should they both win out and get there. And North Shore is another team that's been ranked in the state top 10 all season. So that's kind of a tough draw for those three teams.
Matt, thanks so much for your insight. When we come back, Fort Bend Travis head coach comes on with us to talk about his team's season.
Don't forget to catch our extended coverage of the high school football season each week on The Warm-Up, presented by your local Houston area Geico agents. We will get you ready for all the action this Thursday on all our social media outlets.
And we're back with the fifth quarter. 6A basketball has some juggernauts in it, especially in the greater Houston area. And Fort Bend Travis is trying to make a deep run into San Antonio as they begin their playoff run next week. But earlier, we caught up with Fort Bend Travis head coach to talk more about his team's performance this season.
Coach, congratulations on the district title win. How do you think this affects you guys going into playoffs?
It's just another win against a really good team, and that's what you need going into the playoffs. These are the kind of games that we'll see next week, so we needed one of these just to get us ready, mentally and physically.
How do you think the seniors affected this team?
Great senior leadership this year. Justin, Zool, down the line, they've all been just great leaders all year. These guys really play together, and they're connected both on and off the court, and it makes it easy for me as a coach.
What do you think are the keys to success in the playoffs?
Just keep doing what we're doing. We got to play great defense. We got to make shots, and we got to keep playing together, sharing the basketball, and just being there for each other, being a team.
Coach, good luck to you and the Tigers as playoffs start next Tuesday. When we come back, we have the producer of Chevrolet's Inside High School Sports, Robert Shiekh, on to talk about what you'll be seeing on the show.
Watch Inside High School Sports to catch this week's Chevy Spotlight, brought to you by your Houston area Chevy dealers. Visit your nearest Chevy dealer to test drive their award-winning products.
Chevrolet's Inside High School Sports airs Saturday at 11 p.m. on KHU 11, hosted by Matt Musel. And the man who puts all of it together, Robert Shiekh, is on with us. So, Robert, what's coming up this week on Chevrolet's Inside High School Sports?
Well, we'll have some good boys highlights, from the final game of the regular season on Tuesday night, and one play-in game that was Friday night. But a lot of girls playoff action going on tonight, Friday night, throughout the Houston area. A lot of really good games. Some of the ones that we'll have highlights of. Pearland, a big upset win over Atascocita. Atascocita had been ranked, in the top 10 most of the season, and I believe the Lady Eagles were without their star post Alyssa Coleman tonight. But Pearland, regardless, Pearland finds a way to knock off Atascocita. So tip your hat to Pearland. Sure Atascocita might have been a little shorthanded, but a big win for Pearland there. Pearland advances to play Clear Springs. Clear Springs beat North Shore last night. And we can kind of just go through the bracket, not necessarily what we're not going to be able to have highlights of all these games as much as we would.
We wish.
We only have 30 minutes in the show. So Ridge Point and Cy-Fair both advanced. Cy-Fair beat Tompkins in overtime. That's kind of a big win. And then as we look, down in 6A Region 3, the bottom half of the bracket, Cy Creek has been the team we've been talking about all year, and the Lady Cougars remain undefeated, and they will play in the third round. The Lady Cougars will play Heights, who kind of a surprise to make it this far. I don't know that, we're used to seeing Heights in the third round of the playoffs very often. So what a job by the Lady Bulldogs to get there, beating Fort Bend Bush tonight. Unfortunately for Heights, it's going to have its hands full going up against Cy Creek next week. But, it's been a great run for Heights, and you never know. Maybe they can pull the upset over Cy Creek. And then Summer Creek, who made it to state last year, is still alive and kicking. The Lady Bulldogs beat George Ranch tonight, and will advance to play the winner of Beaumont United and Clear Falls. That game is going on as we're recording this, but Clear Falls is winning that. So, so looking good for Houston area teams in 6A Region 3. 6A Region 2 is a little bit of a different story. There is only one Houston area team remaining after tonight, and that's Langham Creek. And we will have highlights of this one. The Lady Lobos beat Conroe Oak Ridge tonight. That game played at Klein. So big win for Langham Creek, and you know, the Lady Lobos are no strangers to you know, making it a few rounds deep in the playoffs. 19 points tonight by Kaylee Perkins. She's kind of been their leader all season long, and is a pretty fun, exciting player if you haven't gotten a chance to see her. So Langham Creek advances to play Pflugerville-Hendrickson out of the Austin area in the next round, and the winner of that will advance to Dallas for the 6A Region 2 regional tournament. So Langham Creek kind of the last chance for for potentially two Houston teams in 6A, you know, to get there in 6A, one out of Region 3, of course, and then potentially one out of Region 2. And then as we look at the 5A bracket, the story there is District 24 5A. All four teams that made the playoffs from District 24 5A are still alive, and they'll actually play each other in the third round. So we'll see Shadow Creek and Foster in the third round, and Manville and Hightower in the third round.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, so, and we'll have highlights of both Manville's win over Friendswood tonight and Hightower's win over Barbers Hill. Barbers Hill was actually ranked 8th in the state going into that one, and Hightower ranked 9th. We know all the tradition, girls basketball tradition at Barbers Hill, but that was not enough tonight to overcome Hightower. Hightower looking to get back to state for the second straight year. And it's Hightower is going to have to potentially play Cedar Park. You know, if Hightower gets past Manville, it'll probably end up playing Cedar Park in the Region 3 tournament, in the Region 3 semifinals at the Campbell Center. But and Cedar Park, I believe, is ranked 2nd in the state. But if Hightower can get past that, we could be looking at a rematch of Shadow Creek and Hightower round 3. Those two teams potentially could meet for the third time this year. And, you know, it's funny we say that because on the boys' side in Class 5A, we could be looking at that as well in round 3 of Shadow Creek and Hightower. So those two programs have really dominated the Class 5A scene in the Houston area this season.
Most definitely, and it's one of those games too that you're excited to see for a third time. It's not one of those you're like, oh, again. You're like, oh yeah, I want to see that happen again for both the boys and the girls basketball side of things.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and those should both be terrific matchups if they do happen. But you know, neither one of those programs can look past their third round opponent for especially since they're going to be playing district rivals who know what it takes to beat them. Hightower taking on Manville and Shadow Creek taking on Foster. So both of those teams will have their handful early next week, Monday or Tuesday, whenever those games end up getting scheduled. And but yeah, it should be fun to see which 24 5A teams. We know 2 of them will advance to regionals. We'll find out which 2 those are, you know, early next week. So that should be exciting to see.
Thanks again, Robert. It sounds like it's going to be a jam-packed show full of hoops action. Really excited to watch that one. Once again, Chevrolet's Inside High School Sports is on Saturday night at 11 p.m. on KHU 11. Don't miss it. But until then, I'm Ashley Willington, and thank you so much for watching the 5th quarter.